This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner, licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. Moments of Clarity's mission is to educate and end the stigma on mental health through the inspirational stories of our exceptional guests. You can join in the show by calling Tiffany toll-free at 866-826-1340 or on Facebook and Twitter at MOC with Tiffany. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, welcome to Moments of Clarity. I'm Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And part of my voice, I woke up without a voice today, and I was about to tell you about that. But so I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today. But my guest is very important, and her story is a very, very true tale of hope and inspiration, and how to not let the hardships in life get you down, and how to overcome them, and her story is so amazing. I just wanted to get her onto the line, and I want to welcome to Moments of Clarity, Cindy Colby.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, Cindy. It's good to talk to you again, and it's been a while. And Cindy was on the show about a year ago, and her story has been so touching. I've seen you on several podcasts and news articles and radio, and I'm very happy to see that you're getting her story out there.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Tiffany. I appreciate it.
You have to excuse my voice. It's just a little... I woke up without one today, so it's a little scratchy.
Gosh.
I want to welcome callers to call in to 866-826-1340, 866-826-1340. Cindy, you published a book. Let's tell us a little bit about it, and then we'll get into the story about what prompted you to write it.
Right. My new memoir, Struggling with Serendipity, just came out this week. It was released on Tuesday. Yep, just on Tuesday, my daughter Beth's birthday. And it tells a story that I shared with her after her spinal cord injury. Mm-hmm. It was so many unexpected things happened to us after the injury. And I also wanted to share my story about dealing with depression and guilt, mm-hmm. and in the hopes that it might help someone else in some way.
Yeah, I mean, these stories, when guests like you come onto platforms like this and talk about the most tragic moments of your life and how you overcome, it's not. I know it's not easy to do, and I also know that holding ourselves accountable is never easy to do. But right. It's so amazing that such good can come out of bad, and that making the best out of a really bad situation is really hard to do, but it is possible. So right. Congratulations on your book coming out. I know that's kind of why we scheduled it now, but for you to be on the show so we could promote it. But for the listeners that never heard your story before, do you want to talk about the night of the accident?
Sure. We lived in Tiffin, Ohio, a small town, and that day I had driven to Columbus for my son's college concert. And with me I had my two daughters and one of their friends. It was after the concert, it was late at night, and we drove back, and we were so close to home. There was, if I had just turned a corner, there'd be a street light, and then we'd be
that close. They usually say yes. Most accidents and tickets and all that stuff is usually within a mile from the house.
Right. It was. I thought that I could make it. You know, I had never been that tired before, and I knew I was close to home, and I was just kind of trying to push through. But I did fall asleep at the wheel. The car veered into a ditch, flipped 3 times.
Who was in the car with you?
My youngest daughter was in the passenger seat, Beth, and my older daughter was in the back with her friend. Beth suffered
Beth was 14 at the time?
The biggest injuries. Yes, 14 years old. Right. And even from that night, we're upside down in the car, and she's telling me, I'm okay. It's going to be okay. And that really carried forward. So, she couldn't even move in the car. She was paralyzed from the chest down. And immediately after the injury, she could hardly even move her arm. Mm. So she knows something's wrong, and she's still telling me, who is able to walk away from the accident, that it's okay, everything's going to be okay. And that night and the years after, I really felt like nothing was ever going to be okay again. Mm. It was one of those things where I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I couldn't see the hope that Beth did. And that's part of my story that I think we'll probably get into, but I didn't ask for help. And I think that with the guilt and depression, I did need help. And part of my story is encouraging people to reach out for that when they need it, even if they're not injured as badly as someone else, or right. Even if they know someone in a tougher situation, that doesn't matter. If you need help, you need to ask for it.
That does make a lot of sense what you said. Even if you think someone has it worse, there's a lot of clients that I see that have either suffered childhood sexual abuse or PTSD or post-combat PTSD, and they don't seek help because they think, well, probably someone had it worse and that they should be okay or handling it okay. But obviously, you did need help. Your daughter just went through the windshield and was told that they were going to be paralyzed, right? And
right. Well, actually, she didn't go through the windshield. She had her seatbelt on, but it was just such a the car flipped 3 times, and the side of the car that she was on was completely closed. So she sustained the neck injury while she had her seatbelt on.
Oh, okay. Sometimes the seatbelts just don't work.
Yeah, well, and the airbags didn't go off. They should have. But, right, at the guilt for me was really oppressive because, this happened because of me. Obviously an accident, but still it was because of, the way I saw it, especially in the beginning, it was mistakes I made. I didn't get extra caffeine for the drive home. I didn't stop at a payphone. So for a long time, it just seemed like it was just this gigantic, monumental failure of everything, of being a mom, of failing at life. But at the same time, I want to talk about Beth because, it is. I was very aware of the fact that, she had the severe injury. She's the one, paralyzed from the chest down. Mm-hmm. And,
but the story turns out really dynamically wonderful. I want to do, because I'm getting some listeners that are saying there's triggers that we're hitting already. This is a very, very tragic story, but has a very beautiful story with it that has a great ending. Just letting you guys know that it's not all about the accident. That's what's so fascinating about this is what came about after. So just letting you guys know.
Right. An unusual part of my story is that Beth was able to accept her injury right away, which, is impossible for most of us to do, and rightfully so. Right. When you're going through a crisis or a trauma, you need to process and deal with it. But her attitude was that it happened. She couldn't go back and change it. So, okay, what's next? What do I need to do now to be more independent? So she led the way after her injury and very determined, just sure that she was going to find a way to be independent again, even though no doctors were telling her that. Nobody expected that with her level of injury.
Was she always like that as a child, or were there things that you did as a parent to help her feel so confident that she could overcome any hardship? That's really cool. If you have tools, that's what I want to do as a mother.
Yes. No, well, I don't take credit for that. I mean, I think she always had a positive outlook as a child. But yeah, I mean, even she'll talk about that. She's written about that she doesn't know how, she was just able to flip a switch in her brain and say, okay, I accept this and let's move forward. Mm-hmm. But I was so grateful for that. She led the way for her own evolution, her own moving forward, and mine. And so I relied on her a lot those first few years.
As you did each other to get through it.
Right.
So.
Oh, exactly. We were a team. We were a team those first few years. We needed each other.
So what exactly happened after that? Actually, before you get into that, because it becomes a very dynamic, positive story, we're going to go for our first break, and we'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, this is Tiffany Werner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Werner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, we're back, and thanks for waiting. This is Moments of Clarity. I'm Tiffany Werner, licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And sorry for my scratchy voice today. I woke up not feeling so well, but regardless, the show must go on, and I'm happy to do that for this guest. Dynamic, beautiful story of hope and what can happen with some positive thinking and with some ambition and drive. She authored a book and published a book, and it just came out. It's just coming out, right, this month?
It's out. It's on Tuesday. It was released.
It was released on Tuesday.
Right, it's available now. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to get into how to purchase it and everything. Struggling with Serendipity, and it's a story with my guest Cindy Colby, that she was very unfortunate to have had her children in the car, a couple of her children, some of their friends in the car, and just innocently leaving another event for her son. And as she was driving, fell asleep at the wheel. The car was very damaged, and her daughter was in the front seat with seatbelt on, but still ended up with very serious injuries, causing her paralysis. And right before we took a break, but that's just a recap. And I want to welcome back Cindy Colby. Is it getting easier to talk about this? Because I think before, when you were on the show the last time, it was one of your first interviews. I think I was like your first.
Yes, it was. Right. And, parts of it still choke me up a bit.
Yeah,
but,
me too.
But, right, it is getting easier. And I think writing the book made it easier to kind of process it all. The book was a healing process in itself, too, for me. Because
of course,
part
it's
of my
therapeutic.
story, right, and part of my story is that for years and years I was in denial about my depression. I was diagnosed at a young age, but it wasn't until the process of writing the book, which I started about